The following announcement is paid for by the Wrestling with Nerds.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Hey there, the name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. For some unknown reason, enjoy.
This honky tonk man, greatest intercontinental champion of all time, and you're watching Wrestling with Nerds podcast. Yes, that's my favorite. Shake, rattle, and roll.
What's going on, wrestling nerds, and welcome to this week's action-packed episode of the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. We have an absolute full house. Mike Campiggio can play John Stamos. We got Dave Coulier with TJ. Who wants to be Bob Saget?
You.
What does that leave Ryan? Steve?
Steve.
How the hell did I get knocked out of the top spot and become Kimmy Gibbler?
Oh, that's funny.
All right, if you guys are new
Let
to
me
this,
cut it out.
Oh my goodness.
we are doing the week in review, starting with Saturday night's main event. And it was what it was. We got a return, and we'll break it down. Joining us once again is the one, the only Mike Campiggio on the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. Welcome back, Bell.
Yeah, thanks you guys for having for me. Looking forward to talking all things Saturday night main event and post main event as well.
And then the two other numbskulls in the channel. It's TJ and Ryan.
It's more post than actual main event because who cares?
But this
You
is
know,
where...
in a week of wrestling, who would have thought that people completely forgot that Cody Rhodes returned on Saturday?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
forget.
He also had a new podcast return.
Yeah, it's a very interesting listen. I haven't listened to the full thing yet, but
I didn't realize how big Chelsea Green's knockers were.
yeah, thanks a lot, Cody. You've made that way more obvious now than what they ever were. I can't help but stare at
Well,
pieces.
pieces. What is it,
Pieces.
Lego?
Talking about Brandy's, talking about Chelsea's. Jeez,
All right,
evidently Cody's a boob man.
Ryan, I'll throw it over to you. Take us through Saturday night's main event.
I'll take you through Saturday's night sleepy event. It was not that great of a pay-per-view or a Saturday night show at all. They're pretty bad. I don't know why I guess this is part of the NBC deal where they're giving them primetime shows, but they're horrible. They feel rushed.
Yeah,
They feel like they go nowhere.
Jesse's commentaries,
Really bad.
cringe.
Like
it
I
was
love Jess.
good for the first.
Through the door.
Yeah, and if they didn't air cage matches back during NBC on the 80s, they wouldn't have aired stuff like this. There was 2 steel cage matches that Michael Cole makes reference to before Jesse says they wouldn't have aired these type of matches on NBC in the 80s. One of
Through
which
the
is
door.
one of the
Might as well have the limo driver hold it for him.
one of which is probably one of the greatest steel cage matches of all time, that being Hulk Hogan and Paul Orndorff.
I agree with what you're saying. It felt rushed.
The
a lot
dark
of matches
match-
didn't feel like
the-
they kept.
The dark match was longer than the 2 main matches on the card.
It is probably way longer than the women's match was.
Women's match went 5 minutes, and not gonna lie, I liked the both women in the women's match, but it was sloppy as heck.
Shocking enough, that wasn't even the shortest match on the card.
No, it was John Cena versus
Cena-
John Cena.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Ron
That
Cena
one.
versus John Cena went 425.
That was it? That didn't even
That's
feel like
it.
425.
Was Jay's Yeet train longer than that?
I believe Jay's train was like 3 minutes and some odd seconds.
Holy cow.
And I believe they also cut away to commercial, so it was still going while we
This
left
is-
the arena.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
but
3
when we
minutes and
go-
20 seconds.
But when we go on break, we leave the timer running.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we're starting to compare Yeats to matches like we used to compare what was going to be longer, Undertaker's entrance or his match. I mean, I understand the Saturday night's main event, but for God's sakes, just stop the damn match.
Well, we get a return. 2 of them.
The best match on the whole card was, in my opinion, was the tag match.
To
Mm-hmm.
open
The
it.
steel,
Yep.
the steel cage match was okay. They're both banged up. You can tell that they're both hurt. And
Yep.
the steel cage match was a way to get Drew off TV, and hopefully Damien too, because Damien's really banged up from what I've been reading. So yeah, I mean the tag match with the return of Bronson Reed, and he waffles CM Punk through the wall.
Uh-huh.
Who called it?
Yes, the fat man downstairs called it that Bronson Reed was going to make his return. But now, like we all said, the goofy thing is there's Bronson and Bronson are on the same damn team now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he used to have J&J Security, which you two bozos took the moniker of. Now he's got Bronson and Bronson Security. I'm pretty sure he beefed it up a little bit.
Which is AOP 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not go that far.
I'm just saying, two
They
big
got a-
men.
they
They,
got a-
look very
they-
similar.
they
wearing
got a-
suits.
They got a lot more talent than AOP.
I don't disagree, but it's
Oh.
kind of funny how history repeats.
So now he's got Bronson and Bronson Security, and he definitely beefed it up a little bit.
He
So
just needs to call himself the Messiah again.
So
This
for what-
stable has no name still.
So for what
He needs a
TJ's
glove- he
saying,
just
they'll-
needs the
they'll be
glove.
released in a couple months.
They just
Oh,
need the
God.
glove.
Oh boy.
It was
He
good to
just-
see Bronson Reed back after his foot, and then running across makes everybody know that his foot's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, that's a hell of a lot of weight on a foot.
Seemed like a quick turnaround from what was a devastating
Yeah, no
foot
kidding.
injury at
6
Survivor
months?
Series.
Yeah.
I mean, November to Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6 months. It's not like he completely shattered his whole entire foot. It was one major bone that broke. So we'll see where that goes. I would imagine we're probably gonna see Bronson and Bronson Security probably win the tag titles at some point.
So instead of, like they made J&J Security for me and AJ actual sized.
Not fun
Wait.
size anymore.
Wait a minute. There ain't a solid muscle in either one of your bodies to be the brawn of the group. So you both are the Bronson and Bronson.
Do you want to know the scary
Security.
part? Bronson Reed weighs 100 pounds less than me.
All right, on the other thing. Yeah, the women's match was very
Tonka.
sloppy and very, very bad.
You got a broken nose out of it though.
The-
she was posting like hell on it.
Uh-huh.
She's gonna make those Facebook or Instagram dollars off of that.
How do you botch a 619?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. That was
How
pretty bad.
do you botch a 619?
Does it become a 617 at that point?
Especially when you're so little, you don't really need to grab the ropes to do it. She fits through the ropes perfectly fine and magically can't get her big ass feet through the ropes.
So
Is that a 616? Because it went sideways.
so is that the move that broke Chelsea Green's nose? Was
Yes.
it her knee that hit the nose?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've watched the top rope move back, and that part's somewhat clean and not anywhere to the face. So I'm basing that the 619 is what popped her in the nose.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much. you know how noses can be. It may not be broke. It may just have been it's been broke before, and she got hit, and it's a bloody nose.
She got a good
Because
block.
that thing was gushing.
Mm-hmm.
Cushion for the pushing.
I was kind of hoping they were going to
Stuff a
put the belt.
tampon, call it good.
I was kind of hoping they were going to put it back on Chelsea.
I was
just,
too.
Just because I'm not. I love the story of Selena Vega, but I prefer Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you don't put Chelsea in the Money in the Bank match,
Does she still have a chance to qualify though? Because isn't there like another set of
I'm-
qualifiers?
They haven't announced what their last qualifyings are going to be. I always thought it'd be interesting if you take all the ones, if you have the last two spots, like a SmackDown spot and a Raw spot, take everybody that's lost a match and put them in a battle royal. Last one to win, last
an
one
LCQ.
standing wins. Would be interesting. Kind of an interesting concept. Jay and Logan Paul world title was a okay match with no build.
It felt rushed, like very.
It
I know they
was-
were up against the hour, but it
they
felt
were-
rushed.
They were trying really hard to get to the point where Cena interfered.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that was coming with the interaction from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and typical Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night's main event play out. The pre-taped backstage segment is after Cena's match, where Cena is back wearing the shirt, towel, and everything that he came to the ring with, and is not broken a sweat and is perfectly fine because it was pre-taped before the show started. But we're gonna put it in the segment of the show right after he wrestles. Makes a lot of sense. Typical Saturday Night's main event. If you ever go back and watch, they did that a lot. I was that kind of like, from what I've heard and what I've seen, this build that they're now making for Money in the Bank is all because Travis Scott said, thank you for all the money you paid me, but nah. That's how Logan Paul got put in the spot.
Which I'd rather have.
I don't
He just-
disagree.
You just don't want to hear Fiend all the time.
Ever again.
Don't go to a Yankee game.
Well, don't have that problem. So yeah, we're getting Cody return. Cody, I love the idea that Cody shows up and he doesn't just challenge John Cena. He goes, "Oh, you got a partner, I got a partner. Let's have a tag match."
What is he, Teddy Long?
No, he ain't got a partner. He got a brother.
He's got an oos.
Yeah,
And I got a brother in the heavyweight champion.
we're gonna keep your title reign going a little bit longer because I'm gonna challenge you to a tag match. That way, when you kick Jay in the balls, I'm there to pick up the win.
Anybody got a count on how many Cena appearances we got left?
I think
Gotta be
it's-
getting close to 15.
Was
How
it
do we
close?
go? What is this? A Goldberg winning streak? We go from 45 to 60 in a matter of a week?
He
What-
started
what-
at 36
He-
at the beginning.
He
of
was
the year.
down to like 21 or something like that
What?
at Mania.
No, I remember
he
at
was
Mania
at-
he was like 30
that-
something.
Yeah, he was still
No.
high 20s. He was at least at 28.
Right. We've seen him probably a dozen times since then.
And he's currently scheduled for SmackDown tomorrow with Cody Rhodes.
I'm telling you, if it ain't below 20, it's right around 20.
As of May 24th, he has 23 remaining appearances. So
Okay.
TJ, you're
Second.
wrong. It's not 15.
I
Yeah.
just said around 20.
No, you said 15 before.
You
Well, I
said
was
15
kidding.
first.
I was kidding.
I would imagine there's going to be a period where we're not going to have him on TV.
Post SummerSlam?
There's got to be a moment where he's not on TV so that when he shows back up, he can be face again. Because the John Cena retirement tour is not going to end with him being a heel.
You
He's
would
gonna
think.
have
That'd be
his-
interesting.
He's
You
going to
would
have his
think.
he's gonna have his pride and glory of being the all great, the goat of this whatever generation, and because I say generation, because not all of time. He's gonna show up and be Super Cena and take everybody out and then leave his hat and shirt in the ring and his transvestite wristbands and leave him in the ring and be done with him. So
There's only one way I can see this happening, and it involves The Rock, and I don't know if that's happening.
I
It'd
hope he doesn't
be-
show back
no.
up.
It'd be at
No.
SummerSlam, if anything.
the new rumors that I'm seeing and reading that I take with a grain of salt is we may not see The Rock until 2027.
Holy cow.
We also
Because
we're also
Then
seeing
how do
Vince
you
wants to
turn
buy the company
Cena-
back.
How do you turn Cena face again?
You get
I
him
mean,
off TV.
If you watch the end of the match at Backlash, he
Yeah.
is standing there emotional, like am I doing the right thing? And he grabs the belt and he walks off. So he's having the whole story is he's having second thoughts on being this heel, and it's gonna continue.
I don't know. I just, without him turning back on The Rock, I don't see it.
Well-
I don't see how it happens.
And that's a good point that Ryan brought up, because you remember in the match against R-Truth, he waited there for a whole entire like minute to see him. Like, am I gonna hit him with the title?
Yeah. He hit Ron. What a dick.
And Ron Cena, the real Groat. Groat.
The
Groat.
Groat?
Groat.
That's a weird noise to make.
Shall we jump
so-
to NXT Battleground now?
Let me just say one thing before we do that. I can't believe they did a concerto on NBC. Just saying.
No shit.
Just saying. Can't believe that actually happened on live TV. Like
It's
on
not that-
NBC.
It's not that devastating anymore. It'd be different if it was back in the day where there would be blood afterwards.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, there hardly ever was blood after a concerto.
It's not like it was a
it's
big
a-
piece of wood with nails in it.
It's a way more safer spot than people think it is.
Yeah, because you just smacked the other chair.
Well, and the guy laying on the mat is you're paying attention to the chair. He's kind of turning more that it's if it does hit anything, it's only hitting his shoulder. It's not hitting his head. It's a completely safe spot unless you're AEW and they'll fuck it up because that's what AEW does. As we saw Wednesday night with the Kyle Fletcher Adam Cole match where they do the power bomb on the apron and poor Adam Cole Kyle Fletcher screws it up and misses the entire apron.
Yeah,
and
that's bad.
he hits his head on the rail that's behind the apron.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. That was absolutely horrible. Speaking of which, speaking of horrible, before we jump to Battleground, did you happen to see that the one that they compare Hulk Hogan to there, that Mercedes Moné girl? Of course she has to win a match with a small package and win the Owen Hart Classic. Again, Tony Khan fan booking makes it predictable, makes it not watchable. The women's division over there is pretty fun. It's not the best, but it's pretty fun to watch. And they totally shit the bed on that one.
Didn't WWE just sign somebody from AEW from the women's division? Is it? Is what I've
It's been
heard?
rumored. It was rumored for a while now, and then it's kind of been confirmed, but not officially confirmed that Mariah May has officially signed with the WWE.
Welcome to the big leagues.
We'll get back into that when we get to Tuesday night NXT when we start talking about that because I want to really dive deep into that part.
They've had the reaping in NXT, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
High
So
Volunteers tribute.
Sunday we had NXT Battleground also from Miami, or I'm sorry, Tampa. It's this same center they were in for COVID. I didn't realize that until
The
they mentioned it.
Thunderdome,
The Thunderdome.
which they also
Um,
used Tropicana Field when it had a roof too.
That's the
Mhm.
Yingling Center. That's where they were
Yep,
Yes.
that's where they
for
were.
COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it
Uh,
Yingling Center then?
Yes.
No, I think it was the
Yeah.
Sun. No, I think it was the Sundome. I think it's the same building.
I don't remember him calling it the Yingling Center.
I think they just called it the Thunderdome.
That's what I remember. Thunderdome.
Well, at one point they were at
No,
NXT.
It was. They called it the Sundome. I was right.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was the Sundome before it was the Yingling Center, and that's what they referred to it for Thunderdome at first, and then, like AJ said, they can just continue calling it the Thunderdome. to start the card, this first match was amazing. I absolutely
great.
love this match. We have Sol Ruka defending the Women's North American Championship against Kalani Jordan.
With probably the
what's
best.
what's Sheamus say? It's a banger. This was a banger. This was really good, really fun to watch. Probably the best Soul Snatcher that we've seen.
I mean, you were basically able to see her whole soul snatcher the whole show.
All I can do is giggle.
Yeet.
Those shorts were tight.
Yeah.
Doit like a tiger.
You guys know this. I love the pairing of Sol Ruka and Zarya. I love that yin and yang type teams that they throw together to get them to work together. It works. Sol is like the free spirit. Zarya is the Mad Max character. Let's put them together and see what happens. It's the
You get Freebird.
it's the team. It's the team. Yes, no. It's Kane and Daniel Bryan. It's that kind of.
Do you think this pairing works if they don't do all that social media stuff?
I think the social media part's the best part.
But does the pairing still work if you take that away?
No, because then I'll ask you the same question. Does Kane and Daniel Bryan work if you don't have the therapy sessions?
Nope.
Valid.
Yeah.
Then at that point, Joe Hendry's just an average Joe without his music.
Yeah.
Just remember, you believe in Joe Henry.
Yeah. So I love this team. I can see this team being able to go to the main roster as together.
Oh, okay.
But not maybe as a formidable tag team, just being together on the show. Like still being able to go after singles titles. I could definitely see that.
I know you don't really like Kalani Jordan, but she was good in this match.
It's not that I don't like Kalani Jordan. It's just she doesn't stand out to a point.
Well, with everybody going to the main roster now, hopefully she has a little more room to.
I know that they both work really well together. It was a really good match. Great way to start the show. They give them 13 minutes. Sol Ruka gets the win by pinfall with the off the top.
More than 3 matches on Saturday night's main event.
The off the top rope Soul Snatcher and beats Kalani Jordan for the North America title. The next matchup was a 6-man tag that was really good. Like it was really good as well. Hank and Tank, the NXT tag champs, along with Josh Briggs, defeat the culling of Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Shawn Spears with Izzy Dame.
We had a return.
We did have a return. I'm gonna butcher the hell out of his name.
We hope that Briggs'
Oshiki
little shoulder
Amora?
things never return.
Yeah, Oshiki Amora. Let's go with Yoshi. He makes his return. Takes the chair from Izzy. I was actually waiting for him to destroy Josh Briggs.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I was waiting for him to join the calling. It would made sense, but instead he just wipes out the calling. So now I guess we're gonna get Hank and Tank versus Briggs and Yoshi, the guy with the half haircut. Next up was Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus Tony D. It was a good match, but the booking's kind of confusing to me. Like you have Luca come out to the ringside and he just stands there and doesn't do anything and distracts Tony by not doing anything.
And Tuesday he just tells him, "I didn't know what to do."
Yeah, and then he gives him a hug or tries to give him a hug, and Tony don't want none of that. It's the family is in disarray for sure. Stacks gets the win, of course, over Tony D'Angelo there in 15-14.
Yeah, people that were supposed to be swimming with the fishes returning. Everything's confusing.
Next up, We have Stephanie Valkyr defending and defeating Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. I think we all expected this to be a knockout match, and it definitely was. It was.
I see what you did there. That was clever. A knockout.
I could have said a juggernaut. It was really good. I enjoyed the match. It was very back and forth. You could tell that these two are the cream of the crop, so to speak, as far as
Face
NXT.
versus face, and still good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2K wouldn't like this matchup because they're not opposites.
Yeah. But definitely a great match. Obafemi versus Miles Bourne. Obafemi picks up the win by pinfall. I kind of think all of us knew that was going to happen.
Oh, hell of a
Miles-
coming out party for Miles.
100%. I don't see him being in the no quarter catch crew very long.
Yeah, I think he's
Um,
beaten.
And he also had the tweet of the night after the show, where he states that I may have came up short tonight, but I'm winning in life. Keeping in mind any rumors that he's dating Stephanie Valkyr, he's definitely winning. How do you think that works? I bet that works. I know how that works. She can hardly speak English, and he can't hear it.
I was more
Oh.
of thinking where she does the leg twist and just the.
But his face is up.
What's that called again? The thunderclap?
I don't know, but have you seen the video of Booker T
Booker?
watching it happen?
Oh,
It's like
Booker's.
she took sitting on the face literal.
I shit you not, everybody. Booker's face, somebody in the
Mhm.
crowd at NXT pants to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the main event. The main event of the night for the. It's kind of weird. It's an NXT pay-per-view. The main event of the night for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Trick Williams defeats Joe Hendry in 14:58. Guys, what was your thoughts? Shock? All not?
This is nuts. An NXT talent is your TNA champion.
I don't
Oh.
hate it.
I just want-
Neither do I. I'm not a huge fan of Trick, as we've heard on the show many times. But if you're gonna get the belt off of Joe Hendry, Trick's the guy to do it because now everybody hates him even more. I'm curious on what Ryan's probably gonna tell us that Joe's gonna end up doing now.
I was gonna say that's exactly what my question was gonna be. It's like, what's the booking for both of these guys going forward?
Here's the question I have for you guys. Who's hated more now, Trick Williams or Joe Hendry? Because now Joe Hendry has a whole company that sees him as a failure.
I would still
you-
say
We've already heard comments made by Nick Nemeth that he's pissed off that Joe Hendry lost the TNA title to Trick Williams.
well Mike
a
Santana
non-
wants it
on-
back on NXT.
on a
Talent.
non-TNA guy. So there's going to be a lot of questions that Joe Hendry has to answer. And I really hate when people automatically assume just because he lost the TNA title, oh, he's WWE and NXT bound. He's still under contract for TNA, dumbasses. This is all part of the story. It's not he's dropping the title to move to TNA or move from TNA to NXT. He's still going to be TNA talent. The way we know story booking, eventually he's probably going to be the guy that wins the belt back from Trick, or it could be wrong.
Well, it sounds
Uh,
like Mike Santana and Trick are having a match next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday for the TNA World Title. Yes. I saw a lot of people making the comparison to the AEW TNA relationship and how they just can't believe that Trick Williams is the NXT or the TNA champion on NXT and how it's totally wrong.
Didn't
I
Kenny
don't-
Omega have like 8 belts?
That's what I was referring to. Kenny Omega was the Impact champion during COVID, but the TNA never got never got over on that whole story. They literally brought Christian Cage in to take the TNA title off of Omega, and then Christian Cage ends up going to AEW. So there was no payoff, and it didn't help TNA at all, in my opinion, because they never got over on Impact. It was really like NWO against WCW with the Impact team.
Maybe that's why TNA walked and is now with WWE.
And we're seeing that this relationship between WWE and TNA are working both ways. Do we expect to see a WWE title get won by a TNA guy? Probably not. But I think we all know that going in that's probably not going to happen.
I can see it done with the North American title.
Yeah.
WWE working with these outside companies is a new thing. And yeah, I know we've heard ridicules about, oh yeah, everybody else works together, but WWE doesn't work with anybody. Now they are, and they're at this point they're still the young ones in this relationships to see how this works between the two of them, and they're gonna protect their brand at all cost. So
Either work with you or they buy you.
True.
I'll buy that pissant company just to fire you again.
Yeah, it's all right, Billy. Sometimes at your age, people get it where it just dribbles out the tip.
Do we want to talk about Vince trying to buy WWE back again? But
I saw this rumor today.
Laurinaitis getting dropped from the suit, most likely giving dirt to the prosecutors on Vince.
Yeah, well, evidently Vince wants to buy the WWE back because Stephanie and Triple H won't talk to him.
Oh well, I wonder why.
I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think buying the company back is gonna fix that.
I want to see who's gonna work for him. Nobody.
Probably Cena. It'll be Cena.
Well, Cena already sold his soul to him. Yeah, so then I like it when we have this like 3 nights in a row over the weekend of wrestling.
I don't think the Tampa crowd did.
Yeah, Monday's crowd was very flat on Monday.
I didn't say I watched all 3 nights, but I just like that I don't have to wait. Rollins group opens up Raw. Still sets his sight on being the world champion. Still doesn't understand why the audience thinks he's wrong in everything that he said when everything he said has been right. Introduces Bronson Reed, blah 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 blah.
I don't think that was English.
Nah, it wasn't. Says that he's gonna qualify for Money in the Bank, which I think once he said he was gonna qualify for Money in the Bank, everybody was like, it doesn't matter who he's facing, he's winning Money in the Bank match, or the qualifying match at least. The opening match for Raw was probably the best match of the night.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
With Penta, Dragon Lee, and Chad Gable, with Penta picking up the win.
And Chad Gable getting busted open.
Yeah, and the really tight spots with Gable landing high up on his shoulders, and everybody thinking that his neck is broke.
Yeah,
it would be the next stage in the Kurt evolution, wouldn't it?
So then we get.
He forgot to. What in that move? Are you supposed to tuck your chin, or are you supposed to extend it out like a Styles Clash?
I don't remember. The spot was clean. It looked devastating, but the spot was clean. He was all shoulders. He was nowhere near his neck. It sets up. We had interference from Vikingo.
That's who broke Gable open.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was a buckle on a shoe because he was wearing like dress shoes, and I'm gonna say it was a buckle that caught him over the eyebrow. Setting up for their match that evidently the WWE spoiled already.
Yeah,
that it's supposed to be for the AAA Mega World Championship. That currently is held by Alberto Del Rio.
Whoops.
Until this weekend when La Kingo takes it from him because they have their big Mexico show this weekend.
Swerve, he doesn't win it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next up, we had Rusev versus Akira Tozawa. This wasn't even a match. It was basically Thanos destroying member of the non-Avengers. Rusev locks in the accolade and won't let go of it, and we finally get Sheamus back. Sheamus shows up. I thought maybe it'd be really cool if we got a League of Nations reunion and he would have bro kicked Tozawa, but he didn't, and them two kind of squared off, and it looks like we're gonna head to Rusev versus Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of give us what's that famous line from TJ? What about like Gunther and Sheamus? They're what? Two manly men slapping.
Oh,
meat?
two meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah. So looks like that's where we're headed for that. The World Tag Team title match, the triple threat, was really good. I enjoyed it. I liked the way it was working out, where basically New Day were letting the Creed brothers do all the work, and then they snuck in and stole the win.
Mm-hmm.
The very veteran move of the New Day.
I
And
am
people-
liking this New Day.
This might be my hard take.
Funny
might be
because
my-
you didn't when they first started.
What's
Well, that's
because
they
what they
made fun
did to
of
Big
his,
E?
Yeah, yes, they made fun of his Big E.
Well, I mean,
Um,
you got to turn heel somehow.
I'm trying to comprehend how Ryan just put it.
But yeah, the veteran team lets the rookie team do all the work, and then they steal the win. It works for me.
Bring the trombone back.
Are they ever gonna
No,
like
no.
let Alpha Academy get the gold that Gable's been like requiring of them for
You mean
Months?
American made?
whatever?
I
Sure.
Because Alpha Academy is Tozawa, and
Whatever.
I don't think they will.
they will at someday when they break away from Gable.
Probably.
Oh, if you guys don't, okay, just the guru take here. Montez Ford is to Street Profit what Julius Creed is to the Creed brothers. Once they
Really?
split up, I could definitely see Julius Creed being a main event guy.
Hmm.
He has the ability to be a main event guy. They just haven't.
So like Otis's former partner, they're gonna desert the other.
Oh, everybody else is Tucker.
Tucker. Yeah, everybody else is. I won't say that they're Tucker. I'll say they're more Marty Jannetty, where they'll still have a thing going on. But like to me, the two standouts from both those tag teams that could be even against each other in the future for championships is Julius Creed and Montez Ford for sure.
And like Giovanni Vinci, who
Who?
crashed his.
Who?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly who.
Woo!
Who he gone. He crashed his premium
Yep.
car off a cliff.
We were talking about the New Day, so I was going with the who.
Who?
I'm just saying.
Woo.
It's funny how these like tag team members are just dropping like flies.
So then we get in-ring segment with Jey Uso talking about his new tag match that's been made official by Triple H for Money in the Bank. That is Jay and Cody versus Logan Paul and John Cena. And Gunther shows up,
Ooh.
says that he doesn't need to worry about the Money in the Bank match because the Monday night after he's losing the world title. Jay makes it clear that he's still not afraid of him and he's going to make him tap out again.
Because yeet.
Because evidently Jey Uso's now become a submission wrestler. I mean, there's some times where his matches are like, no, please, Lord, stop. But that's besides the point.
Tap out the match. Tap out the match.
Mike, you want to talk about your favorite segment of the night, the Judgment Day segments?
Sure, I'll go on the Judgment Day segment part of this. So Judgment Day had a backstage segment earlier in the night. It was Roxanne giving Dominic Mysterio more chicken nuggets. These ones actually this week look more presentable for once, not the ones she gave him last week. But And
It's
then
kind of funny that she keeps bringing him nuggets and he likes tendies.
right. But yeah, then she started saying, "Oh, your shoulder looks tight," and then started like massaging his shoulder. And then that's when Liv Morgan walks in, first time back from filming her movie. She catches Roxanne flirting with Dom, which is not surprising. Dom shoves his hand off quickly and was like, "Oh, you're back." And he's about to introduce Roxanne, and Roxanne's like, "Hey, I'm Roxanne," and then Liv Morgan shush her up. But then Liv Morgan says that she has a Money in the Bank qualifying match coming up tonight. And in the background, if you ever looked at Finn Balor's face the entire time is like looking like he's like enjoying this because I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to get Roxanne to slip in with Dom and try to build some tension between Liv and Dom, which is not surprising because I think Finn wants to either A, kick them out, both of them out of the group, or B, screw over Dom at some point.
I found it interesting that she was getting all of her information from Raquel. It's like,
Uh-huh.
come on, guys, you know how that works. You're in a group and there's two girls and one girl leaves. The other girl is telephone, telefriend, telewrestler. She's gonna tell everything that's going on.
Well, if you notice,
That shouldn't be surprising at all.
No, and
No.
if you noticed a couple weeks ago when Liv called Dom on the phone, Raquel was asking like, "Did she miss me, Dom? Did she miss me?" Like trying to get like all,
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
and then I was gonna say later in the night we can get to the match part where Roxanne comes out and tries to help, and
do we feel like this is getting drug on way too long? This is now like a 1.5 year story.
I mean, something at some point here has got to come to a head.
yeah,
I feel like with this Monday night it is, because we do get, the interference where technically she did nothing wrong. It was Raquel that screwed up.
mm-hmm.
And then later in the night, Dom and Finn. We get to that when we get there, but it's like they are moving it.
Yes, they are.
It just feels like it's at a crawl, not at a steady walk.
And I think it's the major part of this storyline is going to be built from, I think it's what, Money in the Bank to SummerSlam, or is it Clash in Paris is in July or something? Something's going to happen in the next month or so because I think this is going to be a SummerSlam thing.
We need it. It needs the resolution right now is not in
Boys,
sight, and
it's the 20th
to-
anniversary of the custody of Dominic Mysterio. Are we gonna have a custody of Dominic Mysterio ladder match at this year's SummerSlam too, between Roxanne and Liv?
Well, I said in the group chat, I said this is going to be a whole summer thing where Roxanne's going to try to flirt with Dom all summer, like Liv did last year.
Oh come on, that was funny.
He's not wrong.
Anybody else
There's
see the
20
meme that
years.
was like him and like his ex, his current, and his side piece?
Yep, I saw it.
That was funny.
I just feel. I have another question. Where the hell is AJ Styles?
Didn't he just cold cock somebody?
He did. He cold cocked somebody on Monday. I forget who it was.
Was
Well,
it
we have him. He's in like 4 different stories. He was just in the Judgment Day hangout
Mm-hmm.
like 2 weeks ago, wanting to challenge Dom for the Intercontinental title, and now he's punching other people in the face. Who'd he punch? I forget.
Was it
AJ does what AJ wants.
Was it Grayson Waller?
Damn
Or
right.
was it Theory?
I might have been Waller.
Yeah, 'cause I don't
It's
think
so
he would've
funny how
fought
our
Finn.
AJ and the real AJ hair wise are so polar opposite.
No, I know that like he's been off because like his oldest son's graduating high school and all that kind of stuff was happening in these last couple of weeks. But it's like you bring him in for a spot for this, but then you bring him in for a spot for that, and it's like
I want
really
to see him
confused.
finally flip with Carrion.
did
Or
we,
do you think-
didn't,
Or do you
We
think
We
didn't
did. Yes,
we
we
did.
did.
Yeah,
did we get
Karrion.
Carrion?
He was talking with Sami Zayn in the
Oh, that's
backstage
right. We did
segment.
get that one. He's just stirring the pot very, very slowly. I'm hoping that he's in the last man's qualifying match. That's
God,
kind of my hope.
if he wins Money in the Bank, holy crap! Because I'm Brian's really had me watching Carrion a lot more now instead of just watching his segments and well, whatever. I like him. I like his interviews. I like what he's trying to tell people. I like that scripted yelling at the company segment on the
Sam
Raw
Roberts
recap.
podcast.
Yeah. So there's a lot to like with Karrion. When are they gonna pull the trigger with him?
When you least expect it.
The
Yep.
briefcase would be a good thing for him, but I don't think too if he does get the briefcase, he's not one of those ones that needs to like tease like, oh, I'm gonna cash it in. Just like have it there, have it be there, and
Could you imagine?
have him
could you-
call the shot
could-
if anything.
Could you imagine being the guy that doesn't wrestle every week? Gets into a qualifying match for Money in the Bank, wins it. Doesn't do. I mean, I know we're on short notice. So goes the Money in the Bank, wins Money in the Bank, has the briefcase, and you don't see hide nor hair of him until he cashes it in.
Well, I don't
you
want to not see him.
You don't see him at all.
I'd rather
You
see
see-
Charlotte with the hourglass.
If anything, you mean Scarlett?
Yeah.
But like,
I'll have an hourglass in one hand, briefcase in the other.
Yeah,
you
right.
see hide nor hair of him for weeks, and maybe do the Scarlett thing with the hourglass. Have her come out for whoever's the world champ, flip it over. Come out the following Friday on SmackDown for the WWE champ, flip the hourglass over.
Well, we all
That
know
way,
what that hourglass did to the bloodline.
yeah, and just keep teasing it, but don't put him on television because
I
he's
can
not.
tell you,
been
I know
he's-
exactly who I'd love him to cash in on.
He's not been on television, and he's more over than anybody else on the roster right now because of his IG post. If just let him keep doing that. His newest IG post, everybody's pointing to Logan Paul. Let him keep doing that, and then he just shows up one night and cashes in, and now he's a champion. And then what do you do then? It would be interesting. It would be a different change of pace, that's for sure.
Well, it'd be
Well,
great
yeah,
if it was the last night and somebody's getting ready to leave and ruin wrestling.
Yeah, I like Karrion Kross a lot. I like his in-ring work when he does in-ring work. I like his mic work. His documentary on YouTube, if you have not checked it out yet, called Killer, I highly recommend go watch it. It's a 45-minute documentary of his WrestleMania weekend. It was very, very well put together. The whole conversation at the end that goes, I think, like 15 minutes is just take it all in because he's dropping Easter eggs through the whole documentary. You just got to be smart enough to pick them up. And it's a great documentary that he did. We're in Tampa, so we get a Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura segment, which I kind of knew was coming because they talked about it on Two Bears, One Cave. Highly recommend that podcast as well if you're into comedy. Because when Bert was in LA and had the whole CM Punk segment and he talked about it, it literally took up a whole show of their show talking about it. The fun part about this whole thing is Tom Segura is not a wrestling fan. He doesn't like it, not a big fan of it. Now that Bert is fully invested in the wrestling, he drugged Tom. They talked about it like way back then. They're like, oh yeah, they're going to be in Tampa right around the same time your show's on Netflix. We're going to go. And they're there. The backstage segment was pretty good. Bert trying to be all tough with Otis gets slapped in the chest. Or War Raiders, I'm sorry, gets slapped in the chest, and then he's asking Tom, is my chest really red?
Dude, he was red. He looked like
Yeah,
Brock
he was
Lesnar after a
red.
5-minute match.
So a lot of fun for me because it's mixing my two favorite things, stand-up comedy and professional wrestling. I enjoyed that spot. Like you said, you guys were talking about Kairi Sane beats Liv Morgan. Roxanne interferes, kind of, sorta.
Mhm.
Raquel comes in to kind of wonder, what are you doing here? Causes a distraction. Kairi picks up the win off of a roll-up off of Oblivion. And now that story is going to go on. Becky and Lyra Valkyrie have words for their Intercontinental title rematch, which I'm still trying to figure out how somebody loses the match that they're challenging for the IC title and then magically gets a rematch for the IC title the very next month.
I
Something
think the
tells me,
logic was that she cost her spot in the ladder match.
but anyhow, I somehow
But it's Becky
think that-
Lynch.
I think, yeah, I'm gonna say that Becky Hogan's gonna win the IC title.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't think she needs to be the first person to hold every championship in the women's divisions.
You know how much I don't like Lyra Valkyria, and I pray to God she holds on to that belt.
Except for the only thing she hasn't held is the women's North American title, I believe, in NXT. But I digress.
Well, it would be the Women's United States Championship too. She hasn't won
yeah,
that.
but it would the IC title and the US title are one in the same level,
Hmm.
so it's still considered the Grand Slam of the women's division.
Okay.
I feel like that should have been Bailey, to be honest with you, and that may be what we get at Money in the Bank. We may get the Bailey return at Money in the Bank, and she takes out Becky, and then we're off to the races with Becky and Bailey.
And then and then Becky's done with Lyra.
Yeah.
Or we're off to the races with a triple threat, and Bailey wins the IC title. One of the two. I've seen the Instagram videos from. I've never wanted to be a waiter on a yacht boat more in all my life than the Natty birthday photos. Has anybody given this a gander?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them all together.
Yeah, there was like, from what I can gather, Natty, Rhea, Bailey, Bianca, Shayna,
Tiffany Stratton,
Tiffany Stratton. I believe Charlotte was there as well.
Bianca
They're all
Belair.
they're all on a yacht together in bathing suits in the water. I would have loved to have been a waiter on that yacht. Just saying.
And
Yeah.
I was gonna say, before you get to the main event, we had another Judgment Day segment backstage where Liv's talking with the group and saying, like, Raquel, this is your fault. You're the veteran out there. You need to take control. And she's asking Dom, like, did you see what happened out there? And Dom's like, oh, they didn't even have it on back here for us. And then those two walk away. So now that leaves the group picture of Finn, JD, Carlito, Roxanne, and Raquel all looking at those two walking off by themselves, and they're all standing there just like that. And Finn's just going,
Yep.
like his plan's working.
I still think Liv has something to do with it.
So the main event, Seth Rollins defeated Sami Zayn and Finn Balor in a triple threat qualifying match for Money in the Bank. A lot of back and forth.
How
Rollins
about that
hits the
chair?
pedigree. Zayn hits the haluva kick. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker show up. Jey Uso shows up. It's a big colostomy.
Dom shows up,
Mm-hmm.
tries to help Finn with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't quite get all of it on the push in.
Oh, but Seth got all of it on the curb stomp.
Yes, he did.
And, will now be in the ladder match.
Yeah, but from what I remember correctly, I mean, Finn may have went to sleep on the chair, but then Rollins went to sleep shortly thereafter.
Yes, he did.
So the question becomes, does Punk end up qualifying for Money in the Bank?
He could on Monday next week. Or my thinking is he shows up in Money in the Bank like he did last year, and how he screwed over Drew McIntyre last year. He screws over Seth Rollins in Money in the Bank.
You don't think it gets old at that point?
We have what, 2 more spots, right, for Money in the Bank?
I think so.
It's
yeah.
6, right?
Yeah.
So as we stand right now, the qualifying spots are for the women. You have Julia, Roxanne. Watch TJ get all excited with Alexa Bliss. Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
The men's Money in the Bank is Solo, Penta, LA Knight. All right,
Rollins.
we're not gonna do it, and then Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah? You wanted a yeah?
So
Usually do. That'd
It's
be wild.
interesting. It'll be interesting. And okay, on the last segment, NXT.
You know,
On
we
Tuesday.
didn't mention a return last Friday. Somebody's
We didn't-
birthday.
We didn't talk about Friday, bozo.
I'm just saying, it's kind of a big deal. 5 sick people showed up.
Oh,
Oh,
Wyatt Six
I
that
got it.
I
now.
no
It took me a
longer-
second.
care about because they waited too long and then he ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, if anything, it ruined a great tag team match.
Hey, in case you didn't know at home, it was Bray Wyatt's birthday. And the Wyatt Six are back. 6.
Whoa.
Guess they were trying to bring him back to life.
Are they back, or did they just show up for his birthday and then they'll go away till the anniversary in August?
Meh.
I'm just kind of over it already. I think
Eh,
everybody kind of
that's-
is.
Especially after
NXT.
they debuted, man.
They had such momentum, and then it just...
Died.
They better do something to move the needle with them very quickly, or people are gonna start shitting all over it. When the lights go out and the music comes on, people are just gonna start booing it.
Or go to the concessions.
Yeah.
We can't. The lights are off. I'm not falling down. The hell is that?
It's you're the boulder from Indiana Jones.
Oh, Jesus.
Rude.
Anyway, NXT.
So NXT have 2 championship matches and 2 title changes.
That
Ricky
chair
S-
spot.
Ricky Saints loses the North American title to Ethan Page.
Ethan Page does like a twist of fate onto a upside down chair. Not upside down, but on its side chair. And it looked gruesome.
Looked like it hurt.
Granted, Ricky kind of sold it well too.
A match made on Battleground. Mike Santana defeated Tavon Evans. It looked like it was a really solid match back and forth between the two. Santana picks up the win, setting up for him challenging Trick Williams, which we know is going to happen next Tuesday on NXT. Jada Parker defeats
Miss
Tatum
Parker.
Paxley.
Miss Parker.
And then a run in from Thea Hale. I figured out why she's always so hyper. Apparently on her Instagram, she's a coffee connoisseur and drinks coffee all the time. Kind of explains why she's always so hyper.
I
Her
dig
and
it.
Alexa would get along good.
I dig it. Yeah, she's also a huge Disney fan too.
They could be best friends. Spoiler alert, they were going to be a tag team if we had ever gone through with our GM mode.
LFG Season 1 winner Jasper Troy makes his in-ring debut after he took out Obafemi last week. Completely destroys Dante Chen.
I see. They said that on the broadcast too, that it was a complete domination to destroy. There was way too much back and forth for that to be a dominating match. It should have been a minute of pure dominance, not like 5 or 6 minutes of back and forth, with the last minute being where he gets the upper hand.
Yeah. And then Obafemi comes out and tells Troy to mind his own business. Looks like we're headed to that being for the NXT title at some point. Dragon Lee, Ray Phoenix and Laredo Kid basically challenge Ethan Page to Worlds Collide.
Along
so it
with
sounds
Javon
like
Evans.
So it sounds like we're having a fatal 4-way for the NXT North American title at Worlds Collide.
Your boy is bounty.
That should be very interesting and a lot of flying around on that match. With Ray Phoenix and Laredo Kid and Javon Evans. Basically, Ethan Page is going to be the posting child for that entire match.
It's going to be an AEW match, but better. Got it.
With story.
Whoa.
And then
Mind
the
blown.
main event, JCJ challenges Stephanie Valkyrie for the NXT Women's World Championship. And shock to all, JC Jade wins the NXT Women's Championship.
Was so by you saying all, it was a shock to you as well.
Yeah, I would say it was a shock.
Because
I
it was
mean,
a pure shock to me, to the point with my message in the chat the next morning.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked.
If you look at the audience, they were shocked.
Mike Rowe.
Yeah.
And your winner?
If if you haven't been watching NXT for the last 3 years, how long has it been since Mandy got fired? 3?
To who?
Somewhere around there.
Mandy
When
Rose.
Mandy Rose got fired.
Yeah,
it was about
3
3 years.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she was good too.
If you haven't been watching since then, JC Jane has been the workhorse of the women's division in NXT and getting no clout out of it whatsoever. She's been the workhorse. She's been the one in the ring getting people over, whether it's in NXT or TNA. She's been doing it all. She's definitely proven that wasn't the third wheel of the first trio group. You would almost say that Gigi was actually the third wheel of that group. And when it gets to this second group with Fatal Influence, she's proving that she's not the third wheel or the second wheel on this group either.
I'd say she's the second, because Fallon Henley is probably number one. I would have thought going into this.
You would have thought. A lot of people would have thought that. But JC Jane proved that she's the number one.
I'm kind of bummed that they let Gigi go, because I feel like would have been a good spot to maybe revisit that. And I'm sure they've touched on it, but when she turned on her,
just because you get released doesn't mean you can't come back.
I don't see Gigi Dolan back in WWE for a while.
Yeah, same thing with Cora Jade, because that ain't happening.
I think Cora Jade's going to get a lot of stuff out of her.
I think Cora Jade needs to go home. I think Cora Jade needs to go home and figure out what she wants to do with her life. Because, to be honest with you,
she's the next Sunny.
I'm going to give you the Bruce Pritchard analogy on her that I 100% agree with. And it's a fine little saying that she looked like $1 million and then the bell rang. That's Cora Jade. That's been Cora Jade at NXT the entire time. There was nothing that Cora Jade ever did that made her stand out above that crowd. As action-packed and as good as that pack of women were, she never stood out above any of them.
She always had to be carried by somebody, which I agree.
Is it crazy that NXT's women's division seems to be better and have more direction than the main rosters?
Well, speaking of the main roster, I'm pretty sure they just gained a couple new women superstars.
Yep.
Yeah. And I saw a post after Tuesday night, and everybody on the internet was, oh my God, how could it be JC Jane that beats Stephanie Valkyrie first? She's the first person to beat her. Doesn't make any sense. This is horrible booking. Sean's out of his mind. This doesn't work. It works out great. Stephanie Valkyrie is headed to the main roster. If you couldn't have figured that out right after WrestleMania when she was on Raw for 3 weeks straight.
So she's already kind of been on the main roster.
Going to Raw. There was no way with the I'll call them 4 mega stars that NXT women's division had. There was no way they were all staying there long.
Julia, Stephanie, Jordan, Roxanne.
Okay.
Yeah, Roxanne.
Now
there was no way any of them were staying at NXT long.
Does Stephanie come back for Worlds Collide?
Yes.
She has a match. She has a match for Worlds Collide. Her and Lola Vice versus the two that were in the crowd for Battleground.
Mm-hmm.
After that, she's Raw. I don't know if she'll be in a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. There's been rumors that might actually happen. There's no need to rush her getting into the world title picture at all. She'll get there. Trust me. I would almost be shocked if not by the end of the year, she's the world heavyweight champion.
I wouldn't mind her going after Lyra.
I think Jordan Grace proved on Saturday that she's ready and she'll be going to SmackDown. I think that's why JC Jane got the push, because you need to have that snobby heel Tiffany Stratton NXT champion type character leading that brigade right now. I think eventually it leads to her and Fallon for the NXT Women's Championship.
Because weren't they kind of bickering back and forth?
It was all part of their plan during this match. You find out that it was all part of their plan. But I think eventually tension's gonna grow, and eventually you're gonna get JC versus Fallon.
Jealousy.
But I saw this picture, and it was like Jordan Grace, and it was like 3 other ones: Lash Legend, Jada Parker, all these ones on this picture, and this guy was like, any of these could have been the NXT champion. Well, yeah, any of them could have been the NXT champion if you were booking the show, but you're not booking the show.
Any of them could also go fight a mid card on the main roster.
Lash Legend, while is impressive, has done absolutely nothing since her partner got released to make me think anything of her being the NXT Women's Champion. Hell, she can't even get into the NXT North American Championship story picture right now. Jada Parker, I could see that being one that could have been the champion, but then again, she hasn't been the workhorse like JC Jane was. This is JC winning the NXT title is equivalent to Indy winning the NXT title. They both were the workhorses in NXT and finally won the NXT title.
You talking about Indy Hartwell?
Yeah. Granted, then they screwed it up by drafting Indy to SmackDown or Raw, and then she had all that other debacle, but that's not the point I was making. JC as the heel champion, as the NXT Women's Champion, now it's all back on the hands. It's all on the responsibility of actual NXT women. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I
everybody on that roster now is an NXT homegrown talent, so to speak, is back. That's where they're back square one with that. The 4 megastars are moving on. Maybe not Jordan Grace quite yet, but everybody knows she's gonna go to SmackDown. Let's see what the actual homegrown NXT women's division can do. You're gonna get Mariah May. She's gonna be in NXT before too long too.
Still got Sol Ruka and Zarya.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think this was a test to the women's division at NXT to say the big 4 aren't gonna carry you anymore. Now it's time for you to keep that same level of expectations with them being gone. And
They should be able to do it no problem.
And I think they can.
Because they still think they're, even with those ones leaving, their division's still better than the main rosters.
NXT's women's division is better than any women's division in any other promotion.
It has more direction. I wouldn't say it's necessarily better. I mean, the main roster has a lot of talent. It's just all over the place.
Yes.
I still stick with my statement.
I don't disagree with you. I agree. You both were kind of right on that. The main roster is talent laced the whole way through, but it has really no direction. Where NXT, they have a direction, and they're usually pretty good at. Usually, the women matches are the best matches on NXT, as we saw Battleground. Sol Ruka and Kalani Jordan and Stephanie and Jordan were the 2 best matches on that card. So it's now time for the actual homegrown NXT talent to.
Because Julia's gone too, right? She's main roster.
She's on SmackDown, and she's already in the Money in the Bank.
But I mean, she's
qualifier
not
match.
like bouncing between. She's
No, she's
Nope.
officially signed to SmackDown.
And she's somebody that I can see winning the whole thing on a couple weeks too.
Yeah. But it's time for that homegrown women's division, as the saying goes. It's time to nut up or shut up. And I think they will.
that works, pal.
It's the truth. It's time for them to go and make sure. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of them, the other ones, got cut, was they wasn't putting in the work. Granted, I'm sorry. I don't want to get blasted on the Twitter like everybody else did when they said that they were lazy and didn't do any work, but they didn't evolve. Gigi didn't evolve. Cora Jade did not evolve. They got released. That's what happens.
Is
If you
Shotzi
can't-
still there?
No,
No.
Shotzi got released too.
Oh, she did.
I mean,
Again,
she's been driving the tank for 4 years. So
another one that didn't evolve. She got released. Or didn't get her contract renewed. It's part of the business. If you can't evolve, you're gonna get released. Baron Corbin tried to evolve himself multiple times and it didn't work.
look
And
at
it
the
got
changes we've
released.
had. We just talked about the Monday Night Messiah to Seth Rollins has been 8 different personas in 8 years.
So,
SmackDown
Yeah.
tomorrow.
sorry, SmackDown tomorrow night. Cena is gonna be there. Cody's gonna be there. We're gonna continue the Bloodline story with Jacob and JC and Solo. The Charlotte Alexa story is getting more interesting week by week. Not just because of Charlotte's wardrobe, but because of what Alexa's telling her. Will we see more of Wyatt Six tomorrow? Well, now we
Hope
get.
not.
Will we now get? Are they now? I'm kind of confused. Are they hunting for the tag titles now, or are they? What are they doing? They ruined a great tag team match.
I've been tired of them since they
So we'll
they
see
actually
from there.
debuted.
They just need to do something with them. It needs to be a concrete direction and make it work.
Yeah.
If they do that, it can be good.
They had a really good first night and then nothing.
Hard to do when you only show up every 4 weeks.
Well, because he keeps getting hurt. Bo Dallas keeps getting hurt.
I did love how there was no hints backstage weeks leading up to it, or at least I didn't catch any. It just happened to happen.
Yeah.
Like
We'll
I
see
said,
what
I'm kind of over it.
we'll
But
see
I
what
will
other we'll see what other Money in the Bank qualifying matches we get tomorrow.
But I think
Yeah,
we've
I
hit
guess
our
I'll stay tuned towards the morning to see if Aldis makes announcements like Pierce does. Yeah, so
we've hit our this week in wrestling limit where we have to now wait for wrestling.
I had a fun weekend. Mike, I know you were in Indianapolis watching cars go around and around in a big square circle.
Yes.
AJ and me watched it on TV. TJ, I don't know what he did.
I watched
I
all
had-
the racing on Sunday. Everything.
I had 2 wrestling
And the wrestling.
shows. I had 2 independent wrestling shows to attend Saturday and Sunday.
Those will be up soon once I get the descriptions.
I'll get with you. I
I got
recorded
to
a
watch a
couple-
match. It was pretty fun.
I recorded some matches. I talked to the guys that I work with, and they were perfectly fine. They actually wanted me to upload them just so they have them. So
Somebody's
stick-
weekend got ruined. I can tell you that.
So stick around. They're gonna get posted on our YouTube channel from time to time with my schedule for my shows. I'm gonna still try to get some interviews. My microphones would not work with me this weekend, and then I got home and was messing with them, and they worked just fine. So
Don't you love how that works?
kind of pissed me off. I was ready to throw them in the river.
Technology's great till it isn't.
Yep.
So yeah, there's like 3 or 4 matches that I recorded with my phone.
Can you unplug
Um,
Grandma? I need to charge my phone.
So we're gonna get them uploaded on YouTube probably this weekend, probably on Sunday. We'll work on it. I'm trying to say Sunday because I don't know if you got that dumb D&D stuff on Saturday.
It's not dumb.
The only day I have off to hang out and play video games with my friends, and somebody's got to go play D&D.
Gonna go play drugs and dumbasses.
You know?
Drunks and dumbasses. Now I'm interested.
I mean, we
know,
could.
You're not that far off.
I mean, he could be out there playing cops and robbers. So
Why? Then it's just a catch and release program.
That's probably a camp. It could be a campaign for it, Mike. You never know.
No, who knows?
I mean,
So before this turns into another episode of Roast AJ,
oh yeah,
What do you
YouTube.
mean? I thought every episode was get shots on AJ.
Oh, do you want to see? Do you want to see roast AJ? Go back and watch the last episode of Spoiler Warning with me and Susie for like the last 10 minutes of that episode, and AJ is literally as red as a fire truck, forehead and top of the head included, as me and Susie just annihilate him for 10 minutes. And he realizes why he only lets me and her do shows together when it's in a limited series.
Hey AJ, you want a little bit of good news, buddy? Our Knicks are surviving for a game 6.
oh, that was
Oh, there you
not what
go.
I was gonna say. Cool,
That's good to know.
cool.
But I'm
We're
glad I
up
don't
20
like,
with like 42 seconds to go.
I'm glad I don't like basketball enough that you two are Knicks fans and Mike is the Indiana Pacers fan.
Dude, listen. This point, I'll take a game 6 even if we lose. It's been rough.
And the Edmonton Oilers are 3 minutes away from going to the Stanley Cup.
And
All
winning
right.
it.
They're running
Go
it back.
Canada!
All right, everybody.
Can you imagine?
Take care. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow. We're out of here. Peace out, TJ.
Can I get a rep,
Yay!
can I get a Reptar bar?
They actually
Halt,
do make
I
a
am
gun gun.
Reptar. Halt, I am Reptar.